All right, let's talk about like terms. In a previous video, we looked at some of the language of algebra, and one of the words we came across was a term. Like terms means we're talking about things that are like for like. So let me give you some examples. If I had one apple and I added another 2 apples, what do I have? Well, I have 3 apples. That's not rocket science. It's the same thing when we talk about algebra. We can only add or subtract things that are the same kind of thing. For example, x plus 2x. So if I've got an x and I add another 2 x's, I end up with 3 x's. Okay, so we would say in this case that the x's are like terms, x and 2x. But what about if I had an apple and I tried to add 2 bananas? What do I end up with? Well, I can't create something that is apple banana. They're separate things. They're not alike, or they're not like terms. So it's the same when it comes to algebra. If I've got an x's and I try to add 2 y's to that, I can't. They're not the same thing. I would just end up with an x and 2 y's, just like I'd end up with an apple and 2 bananas. They can't come together, right? Because they're different. So when we come to algebra, we can only add and subtract things that are like terms. And when I say like terms, we're talking about things that have identical pronumerals, or the letters are the same. So here's some examples maybe to help clear that up. Some like terms would be x and 4x, because if I added x and 4x, I'd end up with 5 x's, 1x. And you'll notice that we don't put the number in algebra. If you don't see a number in front of a letter, assume there's like an invisible 1 there. So 1x, and add another 4x to get me 5 x's. X and negative 3x are the same, well, they're like terms because the letter is the same. X is the same in both of them. Y and 10y are both like terms. But here's some things that are not like terms. X and y, they're not the same letter. They're not the same letter, so they're different. X and xy. Now, even though there's an x in both, we look at them as a clump. So the term is what we're looking at. So x is one term, xy is another term. That's not the same thing. They're kind of mixed. X and x squared are not like terms. Okay, so we can only add and subtract if the pronumerals or the letters are the same, and we call them like terms. Well done.